Hello, hi, nice to see you again. If you're looking for Marvel stuff this week, I'm sorry to disappoint. This week it's just all me. And the reason for that is, for those who know and for those who don't know, on January 30th, 2020, I moved from Glasgow, Scotland to Seattle, Washington. And I told all my family and friends back home that I would keep them updated on everything that was going on with me, and I basically haven't. To be honest. Not entirely my own fault, I have to say. 6 weeks after I got here, we were plunged into a global pandemic, and that pretty much put a halt to most of all of my plans. So that's what this is for. This is just the long overdue update to kind of summarise everything that's happened from 30th of January 2020 up until now, which we're almost halfway through this year already, so it's almost been a year and a half, which is insane. So I arrived in Seattle safe and sound, and Val's parents were kind enough to let us both stay there until we kind of sorted ourselves out, worked out what we were doing, and kind of made plans for ourselves. I didn't really know or have a timeline for how fast the green card process was going to go, but when COVID hit, all bets were off, and I basically just kind of pushed it to the back of my mind, because we actually got a letter through from the American government saying all cases have been basically granted an 150-day extension period to submit paperwork or whatnot, and that was on our side, so I don't even want to imagine how long the process was getting extended on their side, running on a skeleton crew, you know? And that was honestly it for months. We just had nothing going on. We couldn't go anywhere, we couldn't do anything. The visa process was essentially frozen. Val was working in healthcare, so she was ultra high risk, so every time she came home she had to do the whole put all your work clothes in a bin bag, go for a shower right away, don't come into contact with anyone. It was a really tense time, as everyone knows. And then in May, Val and I were lucky enough to get our first apartment together, which in itself was a pretty unique experience, because we were still in the height of COVID, so we couldn't do like a tour or anything before we moved. We got a video tour of a floor plan which was kind of similar to ours, so it was kind of a risk. And this is where we are now. We're in the loft of the apartment. We've been in this place for almost a year to the day, and we're actually planning on moving in a couple of weeks' time, because while this place is really nice, there's a couple of things about it that just over time they've been kind of niggling at us, and we're just fancying somewhere slightly different. So if I do manage to stick to this whole one video a week thing, things will definitely be changing every week as we pack the place up. Other than that though, there's not been like really huge updates. I've been trying a few different things. I wanted to be able to like take advantage of having all this time off, because I used to say when I was working full-time freelance, I would be like, oh man, I'm working so much just now, I would just love for like a month straight just to relax and chill out. Be careful what you wish for. In the early days of lockdowns, I was going for runs as often as I could safely, and I was doing online courses to just try and learn new skills and whatnot, but after you burn out really quickly, because I was like forcing myself to do it, and I plunged into the same lockdown COVID depression that everyone else had, which was compounded by the missing Glasgow, missing my family, missing my friends, just missing being home, because when you're 4,500 miles away from them and you're plunged into a global pandemic, you're kind of wanting to, you know, just be there with them, with the people you love the most and you're most familiar with. And then with Val and I getting our own apartment, I had never lived away from home before, so that was my first time doing that. So I had to do a lot of that stuff for the first time as well, and that took a bit of getting used to. So I had just this really hard couple of months over the summer where I was just, man, it was really bad. It was a rough summer. Just massively depressed the whole time, gained a lot of weight, my hair started coming out, and you know, I wasn't doing myself any favours. You know, I wasn't eating particularly great. I was drinking more than I usually do, which isn't very much at all. So on the flip side of that, I was also trying to do some new things. Despite feeling like shit, I was trying to do some more things to try and give me something to do. I had tried out astrophotography. I really enjoyed doing that, but that's really weather permitting, and you kind of have to drive a long way out of cities to do it properly. And I actually found a lot of enjoyment in cooking, because I hadn't done a whole lot of cooking in my life up to that point. I had relied pretty heavily on my mum and fast food. So it was really nice to get to learn that new skill, and because that is a lot of experimentation in there, and I love farting about with stuff. And I even tried streaming for a wee bit as well, me playing some daft PlayStation games, but I kind of missed the whole rise of streaming. I don't really know how. I think I was just working so much that I never really paid any attention to it, but yeah, I missed a lot of that and thought I would try and dive into that, which in itself was good fun. It provided a lot of new challenges for me. I learned a lot of new things, but it was really hard to keep up doing because it wasn't as fulfilling as I would have liked it to be. It's not to say I won't ever do it again. It is something that I do plan to return to, but right now things are just a wee bit up in the air, and I honestly can't be bothered just now. It's just one thing too many to deal with. But then I kind of nestled back into this, making YouTube videos again, which I hadn't done for like, I think 5 years or something. Yeah, it must have been yeah, must have been about 5 years or something, which was intimidating to come back to, actually. Because being older, I had this much greater sense of awareness and self-consciousness, but kind of compounded as well by the whole COVID thing. You spend enough time alone and you just become aware of every single annoying little thing that you do. And your own little traits and quirks and stuff, and that was a really strange experience, because I spent a lot of 2020 on my own, because with my visa process up in the air, Val was the one who had to go out and work 8 to 10 plus hours a day, 5 days a week, so that was just time that I spent in here by myself getting tormented by my own thoughts. That was great. But doing this, talking to a camera and kind of just having a project with something that I'm enthusiastic about, like the Marvel movies and shows, that really helped. And the timeline of when things kind of started to turn around doesn't really add up in my head. It was a really dark time, but it was definitely around my birthday, September of 2020, where things started to shift from being extremely shitty and unpleasant to, hey, I might be able to make something out of this. And that was when I really started to kind of make more positive change. I started to be more aware of my behaviours and my attitudes toward things and the way that I reacted to things, and I feel like from kind of then I've made a lot of progress in trying to better myself as a person. And I started my own photography Instagram page to try and promote kind of more of that stuff out of me, but it was kind of short-sighted. I didn't really have much of a plan. I had a very vague idea of what I wanted to do with it, but it kind of fell by the wayside and I get too caught up in kind of getting excited about lots of different ideas, and inevitably something had to fall. But that's not to say it's completely dead, because at the end of 2020 I got a letter through from the government to say, hey, can you come in and we can take your picture and take some fingerprints and check that you're not a complete criminal, so that we can move on with the next stage of your application. And I was like, oh, this is awesome, great. And then after I had done that, I was a wee bit more excited. I thought, oh hey, things might be kind of starting up again for me. And I was kind of starting to find a groove with doing the Marvel videos. WandaVision had just come out and I was really starting to find a creative edge to it. And then the strangest twist of fate, I got my work permission authorization through, which allowed me to get a job. The strange part about that is though that it's exclusively a permission to work. I still don't have the green card, and that was actually kind of strange for me, because I had kind of found a groove with doing the Marvel videos 2 to 3 times a week. I was coming up with more ideas, and the more ideas I came up with and executed, the more ideas I was having, and it felt really good. And then this work authorization kind of threw a spanner in the works, in the best possible way, because Val had been saying for months that, like, as soon as your work authorization comes through, we're going to get you a job in my building because we need the staff. And I was like, okay, cool, just any job, I'll be happy. I've been out of work for a year, and I was a workaholic before I left Scotland, so I was like dying to just do something and have a purpose again. And that's what I've been doing for the last month and a bit. I'm now working in healthcare. I'm a hospitality aide in the same building that Val manages the kitchen of. It's pretty funny. I'm surprised she hasn't got completely sick of me yet, because she wakes up in the morning, I'm there. We go to work, I'm there. We come home at night and make dinner, I'm there. We go to bed, still there. Honestly though, it's just been so nice to feel a wee bit of normality again. You know, we're still masks up to the eyeballs, we have to be super safe with everything that we're doing. Healthcare is totally new to me. I have never worked in healthcare a day in my life prior to this job, but it's just really nice to feel like I'm making a difference and helping some people, you know, I'm doing something, and finally, after over a year, I'm finally earning some money again. So 2021 has been off to a pretty good start, you know. I felt more creatively energised than I have in a very long time. I'm doing things that I haven't done for a very long time. I'm working again. This year just really feels like things are starting to go in the right direction. When we moved into this place last year, it was kind of strange because we were trying to be optimistic about things, and you know, maybe we would get a summer, maybe things will be back to normal by Christmas, but we didn't really know, and it was really hard to be actually optimistic about it, more sort of, I don't know, just trying to keep our spirits up. But this year things actually do feel better, you know. We're moving to a new apartment, I've got a job, we've got some income, things are just better. And with that, I just kind of wanted to bring everyone up to speed, because I finally feel like I've actually got something to say rather than just still here staying at home guys, it's been awesome. I do plan on being a bit more present on social media, because I do actually want to pursue the photography thing. And I'm having a lot more fun with it. In the last couple of weeks I've been going back and finally, after like I don't know how long, finally starting to put together a portfolio of stuff I'm most proud of. And next week I've got my second vaccine dose, so we'll be good to go. Once we move into this new place, I'm just going to try and shake off the COVID cobwebs and try and make the second half of 2021 as good as it can possibly be for me. And I'm really excited about that, which almost feels weird to feel excited about something because the last year has been that bad. And I just want to say a big thank you to anyone who's reached out to just kind of check in on me and see how things are going. It's been really nice to have a wee touch of home. If you want to keep up to date with my goings on, I'll be using Twitter and Instagram a lot more in the future because I'm creating a lot more stuff now and that's just kind of part of the game. I hope you're all doing okay. You know, things are starting to open up, so hopefully we might get to enjoy a bit of the summer that we didn't get last year. Thanks for watching. I'll see you when I see you. Bye.